The moment our final presentation loaded onto the projector, my group leader Tyler turned white. Every slide was blank except the title, Group 4, Marketing 301. He leaned over and whispered, "Where's the deck?" I whispered back, "You told everyone you had it handled. Let me back up." 3 weeks ago, Professor Reyes assigned our final project, a full marketing campaign for a real local business, worth 40% of our grade, groups of 4. I got placed with Tyler, Madison, and Drew. Tyler was one of those guys who talks in LinkedIn posts. Within 5 minutes of our first meeting, he'd appointed himself project lead and announced he'd be delegating for efficiency. His efficiency plan: I do the research, the deck, and the written report. Madison handles aesthetics. Drew supports. Tyler presents because, his actual words, "I have the strongest executive presence. I'm on a scholarship I cannot lose." So I swallowed it and got to work. I interviewed the owner of the coffee shop we were assigned. I built customer surveys. I stayed up until 2 a.m. twice building financial projections. The group chat, meanwhile, was Madison sending outfit polls for a frat formal, and Drew asking if anyone had the answers to a different class's homework. The Wednesday before our presentation, we scheduled a mandatory work session at Drew's apartment. I showed up with my laptop and printed drafts. I could hear the bass from the parking lot. Inside, there were maybe 40 people, a beer pong table, and Tyler standing on a couch giving a toast. Madison saw me holding my folder and actually laughed. Oh my god, he brought homework to a pregame. I found Tyler and told him we needed at least 2 hours to rehearse. He put his hand on my shoulder like a manager about to lay someone off. "Bro, relax. Send me what you have and I'll polish it. That's what leads do." Then Drew shouted from the kitchen, "If he's gonna be annoying about it, he can head out, honestly." So I headed out. At home, I sat looking at my finished deck. 26 slides, weeks of my life, and I made a decision. I emailed Tyler a file, alright, a copy with every slide stripped to its template. Then I saved my real work, my drafts, my survey data, my interview recordings with timestamps, everything into one folder. Thursday morning, Tyler texted the group, "Just reviewed the deck. Solid work. I'll take it from here." He never opened it. If he had, he'd have seen 40 blank slides. That same afternoon, I went to Professor Reyes's office hours. I was honestly scared. It felt like tattling. I showed her the group chat, the timestamps on my files, the party photos Madison had posted, and my completed project. She scrolled through everything in silence. Then she said something I'll never forget. "You didn't sabotage anyone. You just stopped letting them present your work as theirs." She told me to sit tight and say nothing. Friday, presentation day. Tyler strutted up in a blazer, clicked the remote, and got a title slide and 39 rectangles of nothing. He tried to improvise. He said synergy 3 times in 1 sentence. Madison stared at her shoes. Drew looked like he'd been asked to explain calculus in Latin. The class started to murmur. Tyler finally spun around and said loudly, "He was supposed to finalize everything," pointing at me. Professor Reyes stood up. "Actually, let's clear that up now." She held everyone after class, and Tyler unloaded. I was uncooperative. I never shared files. I sabotaged the deck. He was mid-sentence when she pulled up my submission on her screen. The full campaign, the survey data, the interview audio, the email trail showing I'd been asking for meetings for 3 weeks. Then she turned to the 3 of them and said, "Mr. Ferens completed and submitted this project individually. You 3 have until the end of my office hours today to present your own version of a semester-long campaign to me. Otherwise, the grade you earn is the grade you earned." They had 4 hours to do 3 weeks of work they'd never once looked at. They were done, and they knew it. I got a 96 and a note at the bottom. Excellent work. Documented professionally, too. Tyler failed the project, and I later heard the class. Last week, he posted on LinkedIn about learning to overcome adversity in team environments. I didn't comment. I didn't have to. My name was the only one on that A.